Hello and welcome back to another episode of the FPL Show on the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. I'm Matt, and with me again is Daniel. Hi Daniel, how are you doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I shouldn't be all right after the car crash of a week I've had. Talking through my team's points isn't going to take very long.
Yeah, I mean, people might realise that I've got a nice big smile on my face this week because this is the first week, I believe, that I've actually beaten you for points. I mean, that might be true.
It wasn't hard. Was
feels
not
like
hard. That
feels
is
like a
some low-hanging
massive win.
fruit. Low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, I mean, beggars can't be choosers, can they? Like, I'm going to take the win and take it good.
That's what she said.
So yeah, there was probably more VAR controversies this week than we had attacking returns in our team.
You're not wrong.
Which is sad. So, I mean, we'll not talk about VAR because again, we could go on for hours. But we're going to just dive straight into the catastrophe that game week 6 was, and kind of just chat about where we go from here, really. Because again, it's another week where the big boys, the ones who we normally bank on for points, have kind of failed to deliver.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, who wildcarded early and actually dived in on quite a lot of the big boys defensively, it's kind of burned me a little bit. So first thing I'm going to say, like probably the biggest failure so far this season has been Mohamed Salah. What's happened to him? I think, well, I had a little look, and there's 19 midfielders that currently have a higher XG than Mo Salah. These players include Solly March, Joe Willock, Miguel Almiron, Dakota Reed from Fulham.
Yeah.
So that's just midfielders as well. That's not even strikers. His big chances and shots in the box are right down. Like, what happened to him this season?
Number of things. Firstly, the injury to Thiago has not helped him at all because he's so creative. Jordan Henderson's now out for 3 weeks. Obviously, we said it. James Milner, Jordan Henderson in the middle doesn't really inspire too much confidence. And that's one of the major problems. Klopp's always been a bit of a system coach. And as he sort of started rotating out that front three in terms of, Mane's gone, Diaz is in. And now Darwin Núñez is, sharing the minutes with Firmino. They look so much better when Firmino's on the pitch just because he's used to playing in Klopp's, system.
Yeah.
And a couple of the players that you mentioned there, Solly March, Almiron, did you mention another? Willock?
Yeah, so two Newcastle players there.
They play for system-driven coaches where it doesn't matter who the players are, you play to a very specific system, which Klopp is famous for. Obviously, not the same system as Brighton or Newcastle, Eddie Howe or Graham Potter, but just the fact that it is a very particular system that it doesn't really matter. You can substitute. Pep's the same. So at the minute, I think there's too much disruption to Klopp's system.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately where a lot of it's coming from. He's been all like, I don't think Salah's been the car crash that everyone says he has. He's still got a couple of good points hauls. I've had him as captain for one or two of them. It's been nice. But yeah, I agree for 13 million. He's not been his self that he was at the start of last season, certainly when people are talking about being the best player in the world.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get worse for Champions League. There's too many good coaches now. Like, football's moved on. The Premier League's moving on. Where, look, we've seen the desperate nature at which the big six are trying to claim the power. And it's because there are good coaches out there. There's enough money that Premier League teams can buy players that historically would only go to, top 4 clubs. And I think FPL managers, including myself, probably need to move with the times as well. That in the 5 sub thing is a nightmare. Like, this, obviously, Liverpool get a clean sheet against Everton. We'll call it. Trent gets 58 minutes. That's 1 point when he could have been on 6 and maybe bonus if he just stayed on 2 more minutes.
Yeah.
Robertson comes on for 30 minutes, but I mean, was Tsimikas any good? Did he do anything Robertson wouldn't do? So, like, the 5 sub thing is going to lead to loads of rotation, substitutions, Estupinian on in the 89th minute. Like, what's happening? So I think we need to change. I think centre backs are going to be the way forward on my wild card in particular, unless someone is nailed. People like Kieran Trippier, for example, isn't getting rotated. So I think we need to reassess and maybe think who is likely to be subbed off. We've got, by the time I sort of use my wild card in a couple of weeks' time, I'll be able to look and sort of see a pattern. We've had some Champions League games, some Europa League games, but I think we all need to wise up and maybe move away from some of the premiums. And it keeps them like, you're not moving Haaland, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the idea of moving with the times, the fact that Salah's been the only kind of real big boy like to captain in the past, and he would always deliver without fail, with the exception of maybe Harry Kane and Bruno Fernandes and Son to a degree. We now need to kind of remove ourselves from the mindset of Mo Salah being a perma captain and we can just rely on him. I mean, there could be things said for Haaland being that person now who we could all depend on. But on the note of thinking about premiums and moving away from them as being the most reliable form of points and gaining points, another interesting thing that I've spotted in the top 10 point scorers so far this season out of everybody, 7 of them are under 7.5 million. So those players are Ivan Toney, Pascal Gross, Rashford, Alexis McAllister, who's not even a little bit Scottish, Mitrovic, Rodrigo, and Martinelli. So a lot of value so far this season. So if you'd had, well, couldn't have had all of them, I don't think, but if you'd had a nice mixture of them and maybe even captained them at one stage, especially Toney this week, I mean, Christ, a hat-trick, you would have been absolutely laughing. My question is, who could we realistically look at out of that collection of players as like a solid income of points until like game week 16 at least? Who's going to kind of keep that up and keep up this momentum that they've clearly got?
So just trying to look at fixtures, I think players like Wilfried Zaha, if you look at from game week 8, let's try and balance it. Let's try and say someone's going to wild card in game week 8 or 9, and maybe you've got some fires. Maybe you want to move out Robertson. Maybe you want to move out Salah, but you only want the one transfer. So let's sort of get game week 7 out of our mind. People can look at the next fixture and decide who they want. Let's move into an 8-week period from game week 8 to game week 16. And I think Wilfried Zaha has a few tough fixtures at first, but then moves into, from game week 10, Leeds, Leicester, Wolves, Everton, Southampton, West Ham, Nottingham Forest. So there's one. He's already proven that he can do it, and I think he's on their penalties now as well. So not that he's great at pens. He misses a lot of pens. If Leicester get round to sacking Brendan Rodgers, their game week 9 is Forest, then Bournemouth, then Palace, then Leeds, then Wolves. So you've got a 5-week block of Maddison or Patson Daka. He got a start, and he looked far more lively than Jamie Vardy has this season.
Yeah.
But it's also just the obvious choices. Brentford have, from game week 9, Bournemouth, Newcastle away, not great, but Ivan Toney again, back to his old something ground. Brighton, Chelsea, but then going to Villa, Wolves, Nottingham Forest. Man City in game week 16, so maybe you don't want to go too many, but if you just want a Toney. But I think we've also got to be looking at Newcastle players. I mean, Trippier and Pope is a double up with West Ham, Bournemouth, Fulham, Brentford, Man United, Everton, Tottenham, Villa, Southampton, Chelsea. That's the running.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
then,
solid clean sheets with them fixtures, isn't it? Really.
And then I think you go for Isak or Wilson. Whoever's going to be playing, you go for one of them. They're about the same price. I think one's 7.4 now, and the other one's
Wilson's
7.
Wilson's 7.4 now, I think, and then Isak's 7.
So if you can get the striker in, or Maxi, if you didn't want to go that way, double up on Pope and Trips.
Yeah,
that's looking like an absolute no-brainer. Especially with, I know that like a lot of us have got Brighton players in for the next few weeks, but their fixtures do turn for the worst. West Ham, right?
Really good fixtures.
Everton, Wolves, Fulham, Southampton, then Liverpool, Bournemouth, Man United, Palace, Leicester. There's some really good bargains to get there. So I think it's about looking at the fixtures. And for me, what I'll do before my wild card is I'll set up I think we've already talked about this. I'll set up like a Excel document, and then I can look to see, because if you get 7.5 and 8 plus your Haaland and maybe your KDB, or you could probably afford players like Cancelo comfortably now. You might want to keep Trent if you might want to, because over the course of the season you probably will do well. And it's not like you need to captain him. That's the difference between like keeping someone like Salah. You need to be captaining him to get the value. You're gonna have players to rotate, so you can plan your weeks when someone has got Man City. You can plan that move to change, and you can have a full complement of players, because you're right, the premiums aren't quite doing it outside of a handful. Do you have the three that are banging?
Off the top of my head, Haaland's one, Kane's the other, and then Salah, I think, is just ahead of Martinelli. I think he's like 9th, Salah. But obviously for 13 mil, you want him to be like clear, like he always has been. Somebody, I mean, I know you said look at the fixtures for when you're building a squad. I think somebody who's kind of proven that doesn't really matter is Mitrovic. The guy just bags goals, and
I agree.
Like for somebody who you just know you can throw into your team, doesn't matter what fixtures they are, the price that he is, you kind of just want him in your team to just tick along, and it doesn't matter who he's playing, because the likelihood is the guy is going to get at least one, especially at home, because Fulham at home just look a totally different animal.
By the way, look at these fixtures. Chelsea at home, they can't keep clean sheet for toffee at the minute. Forest, then Newcastle, but at home. We're on the same team away as we are at home. West Ham, Bournemouth, Villa, Leeds, Everton. Everton at home. Bournemouth, Villa, Leeds, Everton. That is pure filth for the man. No risk of Europe or anything like that. He's just getting solid games. He's going to my team, because I think we're at a point now where, oh God, I don't really want to say it. You can probably
Say it.
Gabriel Jesus, because it's tough, right? The only reason why you sigh isn't because of his performances; it's because of his expected ownership.
Not really, because I feel like he's still got it in him. Arsenal aren't playing poorly; they're a good football inside, and he's the focal point of the attack. So, I mean, for me, he's potentially going to be a captain option this week. But that's
maybe this week.
Yeah, I mean, going forward, he might be a sell. I'm thinking to myself that I want about 6 or 7 different striker slots in my team. Like, just take out some defender spaces and put in some attackers, because there's so many. It's like a complete flip around from last year when it was only Harry Kane and nothing else. Now we're talking about 7 million strikers being almost must own. I mean, I said must own. God, kill me now.
I know what you mean.
I don't mean you've got to own them, because clearly there's more than one way to skin a cat. But Mitrovic definitely is somebody who I've got my eye on, and you can't ignore him. And it's coming to a point where you've kind of, because of those 3 slots, and one of them is going to be Haaland, you've got 2 spaces for Isak, Mitrovic, Tony,
Jesus.
It's just absolutely chaotic. So you're asking for trouble trying to pick one of them, because you're guaranteed to pick the wrong one in my book.
Well, this is the thing. If we look at Arsenal's fixtures, you're right. Got a couple of bellas, Everton, Brentford, but then they've got the North London derby against Tottenham, back to back with Liverpool. Then they've got Leeds away, which you expect them to score a hatful, and then they've got Man City. So we're a 4-week period of Tottenham, Liverpool, Leeds, Man City, plus European fixtures. Would you rather have Gabriel Jesus at that period, or would you rather have? We've already agreed that you'd want Mitrovic. Would you rather have Newcastle's forward? What were the? I'll just get the right weeks. That was weeks 9 to 12. So Newcastle's fixtures then are Fulham, Brentford, Man United, and Everton at home, not away. Or Brentford's are Bournemouth, Newcastle, Brighton, Chelsea. So do you have them without any Europe, or would you go for Jesus with those 4 fixtures?
So yeah, I'd probably want to go with someone like Mitrovic, to be honest, over Jesus. Now the issue that I have though is because I played my wild card early, my team structure is 2 forwards. So I've now either got to try and be clever and roll a transfer and try and switch a midfielder and a striker around in the same week, or I'm kind of stuck with just having 2 strikers, which at the minute doesn't seem like the smart play because of the value.
I think you need to roll, and the reason I think you need to roll is the international break.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
I think having 2 transfers in the international break, whether that's to avoid price changes or whether that's to maybe alleviate an injury to someone in your team if they get injured.
Yep.
But we know it can be quite volatile over an international break. I would just probably roll it if I was you this week, and then is it game week 8? Is that when? That's
I believe it is, yeah. And normally, to be honest, I was planning on that anyway. Like, spoiler alert, I'll talk about it in a minute. But the idea is normally this time when the international break happens is like a key time when almost everybody who takes FPL slightly seriously will look to wildcard because of the total like craziness of it. Could be injuries, price changes galore. So a lot of people will have that wild card and will be playing it. So if I have 2 free transfers, maybe even be willing to take a hit. It just means that I've got 3 transfers to combat everyone else on a wild card.
Yep.
So that is something that I'm thinking about just to be on the safe side. I don't want it to take a hit, but it might have to be the case.
Whenever it is that you use transfers, I'd roll and then I'd use 3, take a hit, and rearrange the structure of your team to what you feel it should be, which I personally think at the minute is looking like a 3-4-3, 3-5-2 sort of thing, but probably a 3-4-3.
Yeah, I would agree with that. 3-4-3 would be ideal, I think.
And
100%.
You can have Pereira at 4.5 anyway. Like, it's not even a bother, is it? Do you still have Pereira?
Yeah. Happily sitting first sub every week, I think.
Sweet. So you just need to find a couple. I mean, Emerson at West Ham has been getting games, 4 million. Patterson's looks really good for Everton.
Yeah.
I know that Nico Williams has been in the assist or whatever, but I mean, Nottingham Forest just look terrible at the back. I suppose Patterson doesn't really have any good fixtures until game week 13, and you're not, once you've got your things set, you're not worried about your 4 mils. Forest, however, from 8 have Fulham, Leicester, Villa, Wolves, Brighton, then Liverpool and Arsenal, 3rd sub, then Brentford and Palace. I mean, Brentford will probably score half full against them. Brighton probably will. I mean, you're probably just looking at that being your 5th choice. But maybe Emerson, 4 million, and he's got if he plays for West Ham.
And like you say, them fixtures are going to turn nicely, aren't they, for West Ham soon?
Yeah, like I say, Everton, Wolves, Fulham, Southampton, then a tough one against Liverpool, so you bench them. Bournemouth, tough one, but who knows how Man United will play at the time by game week 14, and then Palace, Leicester. So I think Emerson's probably the 4 million goalkeeper to go, 4 million defender to go for. Sorry.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Like, absolutely. We'll talk a lot more about wildcard and structure because you'll have your wildcard to play soon enough. So when we will do a nice little episode about that and have thoughts on who's gonna be in your team. But I agree, 4 million for Emerson would be ideal. We've now reached the point, Dan, where I've been really looking forward to it. Like, I'm really excited. I'm going to talk about my team and how I've done this week. It's my 2nd green arrow in a row. I got 49 points. Thank you. So yeah, this is all pretty much down to the fact that I transferred out Aaron Ramsdale. Said last week, having a bit of doubts about him, doubts about Arsenal's defence. Brought in Nick Pope. Managed to get 12 points though. Like, I was expecting 6 at the very most, but to get 12, absolutely outstanding.
Unbelievable.
Top for bonus points. I think he made 9 saves.
I don't know how he was. Was that why 9 saves?
Yeah, 9 saves, 3
could have
bonus.
had three bonus as well. Couldn't the pair of them were outstanding?
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, I looked at my team and I was absolutely buzzing. The next day, because the rest of my team was very, very average. So those 12 points have just like tipped me to a green arrow massively. So I moved up about 200,000 spaces to 2.5 million. Little by little, I'm going to get to the top. So Cancelo got us 2, Reece James got us 1, Trent got me 1, Veltman got me 1. Then I had Kevin De Bruyne, got a 7, which was nice. Martinelli got 2, Diaz got 3, Harrison got a 1, Haaland got 18 as captain, and Jesus got a 1. So I'm proud of myself, but I don't really know what I should be proud about there.
I've got no idea. Just proud that your team's better than mine.
For now, you've got your wild card still, so
yeah. I mean,
I'll be nice to you because I can tell you're a bit sad about it all.
You know what? I'm not too bad, to be fair. Like it is what it is. I'm just tired after a long weekend of Champions League podcasts and writing and all that sort of stuff. So if I look down, I'm actually all right.
Yeah.
But on to my car crash. Set fire to it. I off the top of my head, I think I got 39 and I took a hit. That's off the top of my head. I think that's what it is. We'll put it on screen. I got 2 returns, trips, magic in the bonus as well again. And I just love you, Kieran Trippier. I absolutely love you. And yeah, I got Haaland like everyone else, captain. So Haaland got 18 of my points. It means, yeah, it was just a horror show. The transfers I made were terrible. Not terrible, like they could have been good. It would have been great if Isak had finished his dinner when he was running 1-on-1.
Daniel, just letting you know, this is a Newcastle United YouTube channel. We can't badmouth the.
Come on! Signing. He had to create an angle for himself. He can't run down the middle and then try to pathetically chip the keeper. Like, come on. So yeah, I brought in Isak. It could have been different. Like if that goes in, I think the floodgates open. I mean, it would have been a much better performance. Then I can't remember what the other transfer was. I think I brought in Pereira, but I benched him anyway, and I think he would have got 2 or 3 points regardless. But I had to downgrade Rodrigo, who didn't play, just so that I could then bring in Isak from who was it? Archer. So I mean, I've avoided the price changes, which helps from a budget, but I lost 2 points on making the transfer, which is pretty horrific.
Right. Well, now the question is, where do we go from here? So I've already mentioned that I'm not looking to do any moves this week. Quite happy with my team, the way it's set up, because I wildcarded early, so I'm all nice and prepared, so I don't need to take any hits. So I'm reaping the benefits of that at the moment. So yeah, not going to do anything. And in terms of captaincy, it's between one of Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland against Spurs or Jesus. For me, I know we've talked about Salah and how poor he's been. Surely Salah's the standout captaincy option against Wolves at home this week.
Is he?
Would you not agree with that? Do you not think out of everybody, Salah's probably the better option against Wolves at home? Kind of fixture.
I'm just looking through. Honestly, you don't fancy Ivan Toney against Southampton?
I mean, he's on fire, isn't he? It's one of those where, again, you've just said we need to rethink everything. I've just dived straight back into
Salah. Wolves aren't bad defensively. They're not a bad defensive team.
Yeah.
They struggle to score goals. Obviously, injury to Jordan Henderson. We don't know when Thiago's back. He's back in training. No idea when he's going to play. We've got Champions League games you never know. Someone might get injured, so I don't think it's great to commit to anything. If anyone does want to do anything, wait to see the games. If Haaland gets 60 minutes, Man City are 3-0 up or something against Sevilla,
Yeah,
still back him to score against Spurs. But I think for me, going an Arsenal player at home to Everton, because like we say, they're a different beast away from home. Everton, they're not as good. Or if you want to be I can't believe I'm going to do this again. I can't believe I'm going to do it again. You could go Pascal Gross or something against Bournemouth. Bournemouth are so bad defensively.
yeah,
So and Brighton are playing the best football in the league.
agreed, 100%. Brighton wouldn't be a bad shout. I don't own any Brighton attackers though, so that's out of the question.
Neither
for
do
me.
I. So I feel like what I need to do is I've got a couple of Arsenal attackers. I think my move this week has to be to bring in. It has to be to bring in a Brighton midfielder, either Trossard, Gross, or McAllister, one of them, to try and save me, to save my soul. After I've publicly came out to a channel with nearly 9,000 subscribers and said, go double Brighton defence.
I mean, I'm glad you mentioned the subscribers. We are nearly at 9,000 subscribers, Dan. So if you would like to like the video and subscribe to the channel, now would be a good time to do so to get us on the way there. You can watch more lovely videos like this where we talk about fantasy football. We've got match previews, and we've got the All the Smiling Faces podcast as well. So yeah, I think we'll move swiftly on though. I think if I had a Brighton midfielder, I would 100% actually captain them. I think, like you say, Bournemouth are awful. I think, again, like you say, Brighton are playing the best football in the league. And Alexis McAllister would probably be my pick. He's just been consistently scoring points every week. The rocket of a shot that he hit, which was unfortunately disallowed. Did you see that goal?
Yeah,
it was
unbelievable.
Unreal strike. So, yeah,
He's on pens as well, isn't he?
Is he? Is he really? I thought it would have been Trossard or
Nope.
Yeah, is it not?
He scored a penalty. Scored another pen at the weekend. He's on pen. He scored. They've won 2 pens in the last 2 games, I think, and he took both and scored both.
See, if I didn't have Jack Harrison playing Nottingham Forest at home,
yeah,
I would probably have moved him on to like McAllister or Gross or someone like that. But sadly, I'm not going to. I'm going to hold my nerve and not make a transfer this week.
Yeah. Sinisterra, if anyone is looking for Leeds midfielders, I think Sinisterra is going to be the best option.
I agree. And who are you looking to captain, Dan? Are you going to go with a Brighton midfielder?
If I buy one, honestly, I might do. I need to, like, I don't give it. But just to confirm, I've now dropped to 2.4 million. It doesn't do me any favors. I can't just play it safe.
Yeah,
I need to have a pop. I need to have a crack. So, I mean, we'll see what my bottle's like on Saturday morning. Like owning Salah and Haaland and not captaining either of them just feels intuitively wrong.
Yeah,
but I feel like intuition is just been terrible anyway this season. So maybe go for what's staring us in the face. I don't know. Ultimately it's a free game. We should be having fun, and I think that's fun.
Do you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, Dan, because I was thinking we're both having a relatively poor season or a poor start to the season at the moment, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people are being in the same boat as us. Now we can all share this experience together. And we're going to try and keep as many people engaged and into the game as possible, because it's round about this time, isn't it, that people normally start to drop off, get a bit disinterested. So yeah, we're all in this together. Hopefully one of us starts to do well. But
you've already started to do well, Matt.
I'm still 2.5 million. So let's not joke around here. But yeah, the best thing to do with FPL is just to try and enjoy it. You'll have bad weeks. We all have bad weeks. You can't get every week spot on. But the whole idea is that you just keep going, keep plugging away.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially like when it comes to Europe and stuff, the stats quo changes, and you tend to find things have a 6 to 7 game week cycle anyway. and it's about jumping on. And it's that feeling of getting, like, imagine, right, you captain Salah and it comes off. Do you feel much? If you captain Leandro Bossard and he bangs one in, you get less points. We just get that feeling, that gratification. So yeah, just make it, like, that's the thing. Just make sure you enjoy it. And like, obviously, I've had an absolute stinker this week, but it's not got me down. It's one of those things. I look at my team, I just think, well, what am I going to do with some of that? And the five substitution rule is something I really need to consider when thinking about my wild card. 100%.
Yeah, brilliant. Tell you someone who is doing well. The guy who is now leading the Gallowgateshots mini league is Callum McDonald. He's now top, and he played his wild card this week. So he's played an absolute blinder. He brought in Gibbs White. So he got 4 points, which was a bit of an odd one, but still worked a treat. Had Trippier for his 8-pointer, just like you. But he doesn't have Erling Haaland, right? Does not. So he wild-carded, doesn't have Haaland, but he has Kane, and he captained Kane for his 18 points. So he matched everyone who captained Haaland with Kane. So again, it just shows there's more than one way to play the game successfully. He's currently sat at a nice, cool 4,044th.
Get up.
So this is the sort of standard of competition that we've got to try and rise up to. Long way to go for that.
I've had bad starts before, Matt. It's okay.
Yeah, me too, mate. Me too.
Don't get us wrong. My best finishes have been with good starts.
This is just a new challenge. This is just a new way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a road to glory. That's what this is.
Yeah, and we're at the bottom. We're at the bottom of that road at the minute.
Bottom of the football pyramid. FPL.
A nice slow climb it will be. So on that note, we're going to call it a day there. We hope you have a lovely game week 7, and we will catch you all next week. Ta-ra.
Bye.